Ryan had never believed in ghost stories or urban legends, but the man he met that night changed everything for him. That night, after attending his best friend's birthday party in the suburbs, Ryan drove back to his apartment in drizzling rain and thick fog. He passed through a treacherous mountain road where several mysterious traffic accidents had happened before. The road was slippery and narrow, but Ryan still sped up, hoping to get home quickly. The sky grew darker, and the GPS on his phone suddenly lost signal. Ryan began to realize that something wasn't right. It had been over 15 minutes, and he was still driving on the same stretch of road. Suddenly, through the thick fog, he saw a man standing in the middle of the road. The man wore a torn white shirt. His head drooped, arms hanging limply. Ryan slammed on the brakes, his heart pounding in his chest. But when he looked up again, the man had vanished. Thinking he was just seeing things out of fatigue, Ryan accelerated, planning to get out of this strange place as fast as possible. But less than 5 minutes later, that man appeared in front of his car again. This time, he lifted his head. His face was grotesquely twisted, his eyes sunken, his mouth gaped wide to his ears, blood oozing from his nose and ears. Ryan screamed, swerved the wheel, but the car skidded off the road and crashed into a tree. Ryan tried to restart the car but couldn't. The lights inside flickered constantly and then went out. He grabbed his phone, but it was completely dead. Its battery had drained without him noticing. Suddenly, Ryan felt a cold hand rest on his shoulder. From the back seat, that man crawled up, his head tilted at an unnatural angle. He screamed, trying to get out, but the car doors wouldn't open. Ryan struggled in panic, constantly pounding his fists against the window in an attempt to escape. The next morning, the police found a crashed car by the roadside. The doors were flung open, and no one was inside. Strangely, the windows had shattered from the inside, as if someone had broken them to escape. Later, they discovered bloody footprints and deep scratch marks in the soil. The police followed the tracks and found Ryan's body at the bottom of a ravine. His body was no longer intact, his flesh shredded as if mauled by a wild animal. Ryan's face bore the final expression of terror, his eyes wide open, his mouth agape, as if he had died screaming.
I still vividly remember that night, gloomy, cold, and haunting. No matter how much I try to forget, it remains etched deep in my mind, like a knife carving into my flesh. I am Selena, 27 years old, currently working as a reporter for a prestigious newspaper. That night I worked later than usual. When I left the office, the digital clock flickered, displaying 11:47 p.m. The streets were sparse, the streetlights flickering as if they were about to go out, leaving thick patches of darkness covering the road. I quickened my pace, feeling a vague sense of unease, though I wasn't sure why. Suddenly I heard voices coming from the alley I had just passed.
Please, don't kill me. I won't tell anyone. Please.
I stopped in my tracks, slowly stepping toward the source of the voice, straining to hear what was happening. In the dim light, I saw a middle-aged man kneeling on the filthy ground, his trembling hands raised in a plea for mercy. Facing him stood a figure in a dark coat, his face hidden in the shadows. Then he pulled out a rope, looped it around the poor man's neck, and tightened it. His body thrashed violently before quickly going limp and collapsed onto the cold ground. No. I was frozen in place. As I instinctively stepped back, my foot accidentally kicked a glass bottle. The killer whipped around, his hollow, emotionless eyes locking onto mine. I turned and ran, my heart pounding violently in my chest. Footsteps thundered behind me, drawing closer. With trembling hands, I pulled out my phone, my fingers shaking as I dialed 911. There's a murderer. He's chasing me. I glanced back. He was gaining on me. Panicked, my heel caught on the uneven pavement, sending me tumbling forward. My phone flew from my grasp, skidding across the ground before cracking. I panted, my knee throbbing in pain, but I couldn't stop. With no other choice, I pushed myself up and limped forward, hoping the police could trace my call. I made a sharp turn into another alley, only to realize too late that I had run into a dead end. Trapped, I turned to face the killer. A smirk played at the corner of his lips.
Go on, run. Do you really think you can escape?
Stay back. I already called the police. I stepped backward, my hands fumbling behind me until they landed on a rusted metal rod. He lunged at me. I swung the rod, but he dodged effortlessly. With a swift move, he grabbed the rod, tossed it aside, and shoved me against the damp wall. I felt his cold hands wrap around my throat, tightening slowly, cutting off my air. I clawed at his arms, kicked frantically, my mind growing hazy. I couldn't die here.
Stop struggling. You're going to die.
Using the last of my strength, I lifted my knee and slammed it into his groin. He howled in pain and collapsed, his grip loosening. I hurriedly ran away. But after just a few steps, he had already lunged forward, grabbed my ankle, and sent me crashing to the ground.
You bitch, I'll kill you!
He staggered to his feet, raising the knife, his eyes bloodshot, his breath ragged like a wild beast. I couldn't die like this. I forced myself up and stumbled forward. Suddenly, a sharp, searing pain tore through my back. I froze, my body swaying. He wrenched the knife from my flesh, and the agony sent me crashing to my knees.
It's time to end this.
Please, don't kill me. I didn't see anything.
Too late. Anyone who sees me dies.
Just as I was about to surrender to the darkness, hurried footsteps echoed in the alley, growing closer. The killer stiffened, his knife poised mid-air, eyes darting toward the alley entrance. A few police officers, guns at the ready, were running toward me.
Drop your weapon.
The killer sprang to his feet, a manic glint in his eyes, and charged at the officers, knife in hand. A bullet pierced straight through his chest, the gunshot echoing loudly, shattering the silence. His body jerked, stumbling back before collapsing onto the cold pavement. Before I lost consciousness completely, I felt myself being lifted and rushed out of the alley. I woke up in a hospital bed. My throat dry and burning, each breath labored. A sharp pain radiated from my back, piercing through every fiber of my body when I tried to move. Sometime later, a police officer arrived to take my statement. He told me the killer had died that night. He had been hired to assassinate the middle-aged man due to a business dispute. In the following weeks, I returned to work. My wounds had healed, but the memories of that night still haunted me. Every time I passed that alley, I could still feel the chilling grip of fear wrapping around me.
Did you often go to the library at night? I once had a terrifying experience staying there after dark. I was a sophomore majoring in education, a book enthusiast to the point of forgetting to eat and sleep. The university library was my paradise, a place where I could immerse myself in every word. But it closed too early, and the most precious books were not allowed to be taken home. One day, while wandering between the bookshelves, I discovered a hidden corner where the security cameras couldn't reach. A bold idea struck me. I pulled a book from the shelf, quietly slipped into the hidden spot, and held my breath as I waited. The sound of the library doors locking echoed, followed by the librarian's departing footsteps. I sighed in relief, thrilled as I opened the book and lost myself in my own world. Just as I was engrossed in reading, a faint sound like someone flipping through pages broke the silence. Is there still someone here at this hour? Cautiously, I got up and followed the sound, but the moment I got close, it abruptly stopped. Right then, a long, chilling whistle echoed from behind me. Under the dim moonlight filtering through the glass windows, I saw a pair of blood-red eyes staring at me. The eyes moved closer, revealing the figure of a young man with pale, ghostly skin. A shiver ran down my spine. Panicked, I screamed and turned to run. When I reached the library doors, I suddenly remembered they were locked. There was no way out. I collapsed to the floor, tears streaming down my face as I desperately cried for help. The young man appeared before me, his hollow eye sockets writhing with swarming insects. Those insects began falling onto my head, my arms. I shrieked in terror, frantically scratching at my skin to get rid of the writhing creatures. Just then, the flashlight flickered, and he vanished, leaving only the sound of rushing footsteps. My body trembled uncontrollably, my heart pounding as if it would burst from my chest. A security guard rushed in, hastily unlocking the doors and pulling me outside.
Why are you here at this hour?
There was a ghost inside. My entire body felt drained, the eerie sensation still clinging to me. The next day, as I sat in the cafeteria, my hands still trembled while holding my glass of water. Suddenly, Jane, a close sister figure to me, sat down across from me, her eyes filled with concern.
What's wrong? You don't look well.
Last night, I saw a ghost in the library. It was terrifying.
Why were you in the library at night? It closes in the evening.
Slowly, I recounted the entire story from the night before. She sighed deeply before revealing a chilling truth. 2 years ago, a young man had been pushed out of the library window by a group of classmates and died. But to protect the university's reputation, the school declared that he had taken his own life due to depression. The bullies escaped punishment thanks to their family's influence. After that incident, the school decided to stop allowing the library to stay open late. I haven't dared to return to the library since that night. But every time I pass by, I always feel like someone is standing inside, watching me.
I never forgot that summer, the most terrifying time of my life. After my parents got divorced, I moved in with Aunt Clara, a distant relative of my family. Her house was eerily quiet, with curtains always drawn shut, whether it was day or night. That night, while I was sleeping, I heard a piano melody echoing through the silence. The haunting, sorrowful notes sounded like a choked sob in the night. When I went out to check, the sound abruptly stopped. The next morning, I asked Aunt Clara about it, but she said I had only been dreaming. But through Aunt Clara's evasive gaze, I knew she was lying. I felt that someone was inside, and I wanted to know who it was. That night, I didn't sleep, my eyes fixed on the door of my room. At exactly midnight, the piano music started again, louder than ever. I left my room and slowly approached the door across the hallway. As I drew near, the door creaked open. Bit by bit, I felt as if an invisible force was guiding my legs. pulling me into the room. It was a dark bedroom, dimly lit by the pale moonlight spilling through the window. Beside the bed stood an old, dusty piano. The most terrifying part was that the keys were moving on their own, though no one was sitting there. Suddenly, I saw a girl in a worn white dress standing near the window. Her long hair covered her face, revealing only a twisted, pale smile.
Come play with me.
In an instant, my whole body was yanked toward the piano. As my fingers touched the keys, fragmented memories flooded my mind. A girl in a white dress, sitting at the piano on a grand stage. She played with all her passion, her hands gliding gently over the keys. Suddenly, the ceiling light crashed down right where she sat. I screamed in fear, but no sound came out of my throat.
Jack, why did you come in here?
That was when I snapped back to reality. Aunt Clara stood beside me, her face pale with fear. Afterward, I tried to calm down and told her everything. Upon hearing it, Aunt Clara broke into sobs. It turned out that the room across from mine had belonged to Emily, her daughter. Emily had loved playing the piano, but an accident that year left her unable to play ever again. Unable to accept the truth, Emily took her own life in that very room. Since that night, Aunt Clara locked the room tightly and never let me enter it again. But every night, the sound of the piano still echoed, achingly beautiful and filled with sorrow.